What if the things you still do every day are normal for your age, and what if most people over 65 quietly lose them without ever realizing when it happened? That question makes a lot of people uncomfortable because we've been taught to accept decline as just aging. But the truth is, some adults between 65 and 80 keep abilities that quietly predict longer life, sharper thinking, and financial independence. The mystery is this: why do so few people still have them, and why are they rarely talked about until they're gone? Here's the clue most people miss. Aging doesn't suddenly break you at 70. It starts decades earlier, with small choices that stack up in ways you can't feel at first. Researchers studying aging at Harvard, Stanford, and the National Institute on Aging noticed something unsettling as early as the 1980s. People who looked fine on the surface in their 60s were already on very different trajectories. Some were aging slowly, others were aging fast. The difference wasn't luck. It was cause and effect. Go back to early adulthood. In your 20s and 30s, your body is forgiving. Muscle mass peaks, reaction time is sharp, blood vessels are elastic. Most people believe nothing they do here matters later, but the Framingham Heart Study proved otherwise. Adults who maintain basic strength, sleep regularity, and social engagement early on showed dramatically lower rates of disability after 70. Not perfect habits, just consistent ones. The cause was simple. Systems that were used stayed adaptable. Systems that were ignored quietly weakened. Then come the changes that start in your 40s, the ones nobody warns you about. Balance begins to decline by about 1% per year. Processing speed slows. Insulin sensitivity drops. According to CDC data, nearly 40% of Americans in their 40s already show early metabolic strain. You don't feel it. That's the trap. People compensate instead of correcting. They sit more. They rush more. They rely on medications instead of movement. The effect doesn't show up immediately, but the timeline has started. After 70, there's a shift most people ignore because it doesn't hurt. The loss isn't dramatic. It's subtle. Grip strength weakens. Walking speed slows. Multitasking becomes harder. Yet studies from Johns Hopkins found that walking speed alone predicts mortality better than blood pressure in older adults. If you're between 65 and 80 and can still walk briskly without fear of falling, that's not common. It's rare, and it's one of the 8 signs. Here's another. Can you get up from the floor without using your hands? Brazilian aging researchers found that this single movement test predicts lifespan across age groups. Most people over 70 can't do it anymore, not because they're sick, but because they stopped practicing the movement decades ago. Cause: loss of mobility training. Effect: loss of independence. The breaking point comes when these small losses stack. One fall leads to fear. Fear leads to less movement. Less movement leads to muscle loss. Muscle loss leads to insulin resistance. Suddenly, health costs rise. According to Medicare data, falls alone cost the U.S. healthcare system over $50 billion a year. If you're over 65 and still trust your balance, still turn your head without dizziness, still carry groceries without strain, that's not luck. That's preserved systems. The fallout isn't just physical, it's financial and emotional. Seniors who lose mobility early are far more likely to leave their homes, rely on family, or burn through savings. A University of Michigan survey showed that adults over 70 who maintain physical and cognitive independence spent thousands less per year on healthcare. Independence compounds. Dependence does too. Now here's where most seniors try the wrong fixes. They chase supplements. They rely on outdated advice like take it easy or slow down. But research from the American College of Sports Medicine shows that light to moderate resistance and balance training even after 75 dramatically improves strength and brain health. Rest without stimulus accelerates decline. That's the hard truth. So, what are the rare signs? If you can still learn new technology without panic, that's one. Cognitive flexibility after 70 is linked to lower dementia risk. If you can still regulate your emotions under stress, that's another emotional control predicts cardiovascular health. If you maintain close friendships, studies show up to a 50% lower mortality risk. If you sleep through the night without heavy medication, if you recover quickly from minor illness, if you plan ahead instead of avoiding the future. These are not small things, they're signals. If you're between 65 and 80 and can still do even a few of these, you are a rare jewel in a system designed for decline. But here's the warning backed by evidence. These abilities fade faster when ignored. Aging accelerates when you assume it's inevitable. 3 actions you can apply today. First, train balance and strength intentionally. 10 minutes a day changes trajectories. Second, challenge your brain with discomfort, not entertainment. Learn something that frustrates you. Third, protect your social connections like your health depends on them, because it does. And here's the open thought I want you to sit with. What if the next decade of your life isn't about slowing down, but about choosing which abilities you refuse to lose? If this made you think differently about aging, do me a favor, like this video and share it with someone over 60 who needs to hear it. And subscribe, because in the next chapter, we uncovering the hidden habits that quietly steal these abilities even from healthy seniors, and how to stop them before they're gone.